Let's go Red Friday. It's all about women's heart health, but the campaign doesn't stop there. The entire month of February, health workers are focusing on heart disease and women. And joining us now is Dr. Megha Argwal, a cardiologist at UCLA Health, and Lily Rocha, who is sharing her story of survival, both volunteers with the American Heart Association. Welcome to you both. Looking lovely in your red.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're all doing what we can to support. Well, all the girls wore red today, the guys too. So, Doctor, let's start with you. Heart disease continues to be the leading cause of death in the United States. Are there an increase in significant risk factors over the past few years?
Yeah, so what's been really interesting is since the 1950s, we've seen a decrease in the overall incidence of heart disease. Now, this is partly due to advances in medical therapy and treatment interventions. However, despite those valiant efforts, we are starting to see an actual increase in the rise of heart disease. Starting from the late 2010s to the early 2020s, we're seeing a rise and a resurgence in the incidence of cardiovascular disease. And when you look closely at the data, you'll see that this is due to two factors. One, we have an aging population. And two, we're starting to see a rise in the risk factors that support heart disease, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity, with nearly 50% of the population now suffering from high blood pressure.
Wow. And is it diet mostly? Diet and lifestyle, lack of exercise? Is that?
Yes, all of those combined. They all contribute to the accumulation of these risk factors.
That is not what you want to hear if you're a cardiologist or a patient, I would imagine. Lily, let's go to you. A lot of people think this is an older person's problem. You were 37 when you had a heart attack.
Yes.
That's hard to believe. Take us back.
Yeah, you know, I was working, just, you know, kind of height of my career. I traveled a lot and went all over the place, and I had just arrived at home a few days earlier. I wasn't feeling that great. My boss, who had a heart attack, when I got to the office, he's like, "What's wrong?" And I told him my symptoms, and he was like, "Oh, you're having a heart attack." And I said, "No." And I was 37. I was like, "No, that's not happening." He said, "Let me take you to the emergency room. I will stay with you." And I was like, no, just drop me off. I'll be fine. I had absolutely, there's no way on this planet that I thought I was having a heart attack. And sure enough, I had a heart attack. After being in the ER for, you know, a while, the doctors came back and said, "You had a massive heart attack." And I couldn't believe it.
Shocking.
It was shocking. It was shocking. Subsequently, I found out that I have a really strong family history of heart disease. And so on my mother's side, there's been lots of heart attacks in the 30s and the 40s.
Wow.
So
that's unbelievable. So really important to know your family history, I would imagine.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of us envision like a man holding his chest. It's kind of been associated more with men often. But women have different symptoms that are more subtle. Is that right? Can you take us through some of those? What should we all be looking out for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in general, men and women do experience heart attacks similarly, which is why your boss was probably able to identify that you were having symptoms. And they typically do occur in the chest region. However, women can uniquely feel these symptoms in different ways. They can have back pain or shoulder pain. They can have symptoms like acid reflux or fatigue. But the one hallmark and characteristic of a heart attack is any of these atypical or typical symptoms associated with nausea and feeling sweaty or cold and clammy. And if you're having these, then that might be a sign that you're having a heart attack and to seek urgent medical care.
And Lily, what do you want before we leave other women to know? Obviously, this was a huge surprise to you. What do you want people to know?
I think the main thing is what you said, really be aware of your family history, because I knew that certain people had heart attacks in my family, and it was sort of like, oh, okay. I didn't really pay attention to it, but I think really knowing your family history, knowing what types of diseases run in your family, I think is a very good idea. And then, of course, we spoke about, you know, diet and exercise. I've always been very good at diet and exercise, but obviously, you know, you could always do better. And so those are the two things, like really watch diet and exercise and know your family history. I would say those are the two things that I would say that, you know, people should be thinking about.
Yeah, and awareness is so key. So we thank you both for being here and reminding people of the information they need to know. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you're doing okay, Lily.
Thank you.
And for more information on Heart Month and the Go Red for Women campaign, check out our website, kcalnews.com.